Okay, so now that you are ultra aligned and you're ready to go, I want to read to you a little post that I wrote today to my private students, and maybe you got this text already, but I just want to read it now because it outlines steps to grow your business. Okay, so this is just kind of an overview. This is not like definitive. This is just a step-by-step process that you can use, which will help. Okay, and we can fill in these steps in the next couple videos, and then obviously there'll be other stuff that we have to talk about as well. But for now, let's just go into these steps. Okay, so the first one, and I said here, we must spend time thinking about the following. We must spend time thinking about the following. If I've had any success in my life and business, it's not because I wanted my coaches to do it for me. It's because I spent time thinking about these things for myself until I found very, very, very satisfactory answers to these questions. Okay? Contemplation is indispensable. Coming to authentic answers is indispensable. They're not going to be your first answers, and they're not going to come in the first few moments of thinking about it for every single part of these, for every single one of these probably. So you will have to spend some significant time by yourself in quiet reflection, going for a walk, going in the woods, going for a run, going for a swim or a meditation session or whatever, lying down on the grass or on the ground, thinking about these questions and coming up with answers. Eventually, the answers will come. You don't come up with the answers yourself, you let the answers come to you. And that can only happen if you ask the questions with a very open, inquisitive mind. You must ask the question in a very, very open way, repeatedly, and toss it around and turn it around and twist it around and look at it from different angles and come up with different hypotheses and potential solutions and test out the solutions and run it through your mind of the scenarios and the pros and cons and talk to people and test it out. And eventually you'll come up with very good answers to these questions, and hopefully they'll be divinely guided, they'll be divinely blessed, they'll have some like energy that comes in, like inspiration, like universal inspiring energy that comes in while you're thinking about it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, this is it then. So hopefully that didn't sound too complicated. So let's just go and talk about these questions, and please take some time to think about all these questions. Number one, and we're going to go over these questions in separately in different videos. This video is an overview, so don't try to, yeah, this is just an overview. We're going to go at it again later. Okay, so who are our clients and where are, who are our clients and where are they at? What stage of development are they at in terms of the journey we can take them on? Okay, so stage of development, where are they on that path? That's a good question, right? So think about it like from here to here. Your whole business is taking people from here and moving them to here. A to B. And the method is C. We're gonna get to this, but A. Where specifically is A? What stage of development are they at? Now, I know someone who wanted to work with people who have anxiety and depression, and they're not at the point where they're like they're not doing a lot of medication. If they're drowning in medication and they can't even like function without it, and they're just like still stuck in the medication cycle, they're not at A. They're not in the place that he wants to be when he starts with his clients. They have to be free of medication, or at least they really want to be, and they're pretty damn close to being free, basically. That's just an example, right? And they're also probably not a wizard, a person of growth. They're probably not Tony Robbins. They're probably not on Tony Robbins' staff. They're probably not leading courses and retreats about mental wellness. They're probably not there either, right? So where is A? Well, somewhere between not functioning, without medication, and like thriving. Just gonna be honest, like there's somewhere, and where, right? You have to define that. You have to say specifically, where are they at? They have this problem, they have this problem, they think like this, they want this. Again, they have to know they have a problem, and they have to want a solution, and they probably have to want a solution similar to what you do. They need to have that too, okay? Okay, so that's A. Think about A, yeah. What is their starting place? What desires do they have? It's always going to be either health, wealth, or relationships. So this is an interesting point. Health, wealth, relationships are the three big niches, and those are not niches, sorry, those are markets. Health, wealth, relationships are the three big markets, and then within those are the sub-markets, right? So within the health market is like mental health, and there's also maybe spiritual health, and there's also maybe like physical health and alternative physical health and mainstream health and whatever. There's all these different sub-markets, and within the sub-market are the niches. The riches are the niches, as they say, and meaning we have to actually create something that's quite specific to have success right now. Okay, but what my point is here is that health, wealth, relationships, what you need to do is let go of the idea that you can be everything to everybody. And even if your program can help people with all three aspects, when it comes to the marketing of your program, you need to kind of commit to being on the side of just one of them. Does that make sense? So you need to primarily be either a health that could include mental and spiritual health, wealth, which could include business, investing, finance, abundance work, and relationships, which can include marriage, divorce, couples therapy, and other stuff. Okay, manifesting your soulmate. All these things are. Do you see how they're all kind of different? And what we want to tap into is the motivation of the person who is going to say yes to working with us. They need to. Doesn't mean that your program can't include all three, and your program can have elements that will help with all three. But there's a primary motivator within your client, where they're moving more specifically towards one of the three. Okay, so your program might be a spiritual program that helps mostly with relationships, in which case you're in the relationship niche. Even though it's a spiritual program, and even though doing it can create wealth, it's a relationship oriented program, I would say. Okay, now if your message is that having a divine partnership is actually a means of increasing wealth and increasing spiritual harmony, yeah, then it starts to get tricky because you're just using one to create the others. But yeah, in a sense, we need to be willing to test the message of just one of them. If we have to know that our clients are mostly going to be motivated by one or the other. So maybe your clients are mostly spiritual people, and they mostly just want spiritual solutions, which is maybe the health side of things. They want that spiritual wellness, and they mostly want that. And so when we talk about a relationship, what they really want is to be whole and complete as a person spiritually. Okay, so it's a spiritual program that uses relationships to get there. And if you know that, then you can market yourself appropriately. In the same way, my clients I'm in the wealth niche, right? I never thought I'd be in the wealth niche. That was the opposite of what I thought I was going to do, to be honest. I didn't want to. But, yeah, my clients are mostly, when they come to me, they're mostly motivated by that. And that's okay. They need all the inner work in order to get there. And they might even need to form up relationships in order to get there. So my program can have elements of all of them, and it certainly has the spiritual side. But the main motivator for someone to say yes to me is that they want wealth. Okay, they just want it to be aligned. And that's important to them. So that's why it's a spiritual method to get wealth, if that makes sense. So it's the same for you. Your program can address different things, and it can use one thing to get to the other. But the main motivator, the main desire of in your client's mind is towards one of those things. Not that they only want one of the things, but if your messaging is specific towards one of those, it'll be more clear and resonant for them, and they'll be able to make an easier decision. Does that make sense? You don't want to make it confusing or complicated. What do I mean here? So I'm talking about desires. The context of this advice is getting in touch with the desires of the person at A. Remember, the person at A, they have desires. Where are the desires trying to take them? There's a beautiful line within a book called Breakthrough Advertising, written by probably the greatest copywriter ever, named Eugene Schwartz. Now that book, it's hard to find it for like less than $400 for this book. It's like a piece of gold. One of the lines in the book is that it's not your job to create desires in your audience. They already have desires. It's your job to guide them towards your product or service using their desires that they already have. So they already have desires towards certain things, and it's your job to figure out their relevant desires. What desires do they already have that are going to take them in the direction of what you do? And those are desires that you speak to, and it's almost like those desires are horses, and you jump on the back of those horses and you use the reins to guide them. Use the reins of really fear and faith. Fear of like what you don't want, faith in towards what you do want, and you use those two reins to guide them toward you. The horse is a desire, and you're using these reins to guide it towards your product and service. So you didn't create the desire, you just rode their desire and guided it towards what you offer. This is really important. So you need to get in touch with the desires that they already have. At A, they already have certain desires. You need to learn what those are. And you need to think of each of those desires as a horse. And some of those horses are, they're wild horses. Some of them are going in different directions than your product or service. You can ignore those ones. You don't need to know about those ones. You don't need to pay attention to those ones. Those are not what you're going to be speaking to. They have endless desires. You cannot occupy yourself with all of them. But you need to know the relevant ones, okay? And then you need to get onto each of those as horses and take them towards your product and service. And here we're saying that the main desire in your person is probably going to be either health, wealth, or relationships as it relates to your business, okay? And then you need to learn to speak to them in that way. You need to learn to speak to them in that way. Now, when it comes time to make a sale, okay, you can always tie in wealth and find the ROI and say, yes, this is ROI. But just remember, some people are mostly interested in like mental, physical, spiritual wellness or health. Some people are mostly interested in having a great relationship. Some people are mostly interested in wealth. And so you can just stay on track. You don't need to like try to be on all different tracks. Be on one track and do it well. Give yourself the grace of choosing one thing and focusing on one thing. Okay, so I'm gonna continue here. We have to choose one. Choose one. Okay. B. So I'm gonna list. These are all the different points. So that was the first point. The second point is this: what is the result we can lead them to? So B. A to B. Where are they now? Where are they going to go? What is the result we can lead them to? What results, the result that they actually want? What result do they actually want that you can help to get them to? What juicy way can we describe this? What are some juicy, articulate, beautiful, full of adjectives way can we describe the result? Okay. Don't be modest or shy. Here, don't be modest, don't be shy. You're not over-promising. You're not promising this result right now, but you need to be able to describe it in a way that makes them kind of salivate. Okay, salivate. Make it sensory. Make it larger than life. It's okay to take it and like expand it and be like, and this is how your life is going to change overall. Like make it make it bigger than life. Like, I think Donald Trump said, like, put an aura on it. Like, Donald Trump talked about his own buildings, for example, as having like an aura. You know, he created like an aura around the things that he did in the way that he was able to present it. And here, and that was helpful, right? That was helpful for his goals. And for here, we want to allow an aura to be built around really our whole marketing process, ourself, our own method, our program. True. But here I'm also saying around the result. Allow the result to feel big, like larger than life, like expand it, like make it feel, yeah, like holy, like glistening, like you know, really dial it to 10, you know, in terms of the magnitude of ripple effect that it can really have in the life of this person. Okay, don't be modest or shy here. You're not promising this yet, and you're never going to really promise all these things. But if you can describe it well, you will have the attention of this person. Okay, you must have some experience of this yourself. Yeah, you must have some experience of this. So we'll get to this later. But right now, don't be modest or shy. Just kind of go big. And you have to have some experience of this. You don't need to have the fully ripened effect of all of it, but you need to have some experience of it. You need to have tasted it. Okay. So then we're going to go on to number 3. The next step is, what process or method can you use to get them there? What process or method can you use to get them there? So I said spend time on this. What is the process, the step-by-step? What's the step-by-step solution from A to B? And we're going to call that solution C, this unique method. Now, at some point, we need to create a unique name for this method, or a unique, to be able to coin it as like a one thing. So here I'm asking this A to B, we're going to call it C, the pathway, is step-by-step, but it's also one thing. It's also a continuum of one thing. So there's one method that has, and there's going to be also steps. Try to come up with both here. Maybe it's easier to start with the steps. So start with the steps, come up with the steps. So step 1 to get from A to B is, you know, you gotta be aware of this. Step 2 to get to A to B is you need to maybe build the foundation like this. Step 3 to get from A to B is you need to involve other people and build your network like this. Step 4 to get to A to B is, you know, you need to cut away all these things in your life. Step 5 to get from A to B is, you know, learn to fixate your mind on the vision or goals. And step 6 is, you know, blah, 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 and this manifestation exercise, and this meditation technique, and this routine, and this little hack, and blah, blah, blah. Make the steps, okay? I say here, spend some time on this. Create a custom step-by-step process. You can see that the more laser-focused A and B are, the clearer this process can be. So the strength of your program will be determined, you know, the strength of the success of your program. I'm going to drop some truth on you right now. The strength of the success of your program is to do with a bunch of things, including your own belief and enthusiasm that this works, which will transfer to your clients, and so they'll practice with certainty. True. Okay, but also, and this is even more true if it's group coaching or a course. One-on-one, this is a little bit less true, but if you're doing group coaching or a course, or if you want to have those in the future, the success is really going to be about really defining A and really defining B as being very clear moments in time, very clear starting place, very clear ending place. And then that allows the step-by-step to be laser focused and relevant and specific. It's not vague, it's not haphazard, it's not abstract, it's not only relevant to some people but not to others. You get what I'm saying, right? It can be very effective if A and B are clearly defined, okay? So you're not gonna get this perfect on the first try. It's not gonna be laser tight on try number 1, most likely, but it'll be a working model that you can use and build on and refine. You know, you're in business for the long run. You're doing this, you know, maybe for a few decades. You have to be willing to get started with what you have. And in my opinion, you have to be willing to give people extra help and support so that you can test your methods and still get them results. So here's what I would do, is I would create a group coaching program and a one-on-one coaching program, and even maybe a video course like the one I'm making now. And just to be clear, I've been doing this business for a couple of years, and I'm, finally getting good video courses, accomplished. But you don't have to start with that, but it's helpful to have something, some kind of supplemental content. And what I'm trying to say is, even if your program is video and group, what I would do is give them one-on-one support anyway, because you need to make sure that your method is working. You need to bring them through the method, the best try of your method, whatever your best guess is from A to B, and test it, implement it, use it on yourself, use it on test clients. Don't get stuck on the stage of thinking you have to apply it to yourself. Trust me, you're beyond that. You don't need to apply it to yourself right now. You're already past that. What you've done is try to reverse engineer the A to B that you've already done. You've already gone from A to B. You're already at B. You've already done that journey. You don't need to go backwards and pretend you're still at A and try out your method. Trust me, you've already done this method in a quantum way, in a way that was not exactly on track, but that's what everyone's gonna do. Everyone's gonna apply it in their own way, and they're gonna go off track, but they're still gonna accomplish the basic steps. Okay, you need to give yourself some grace. You don't need to go backwards and think that you're still at the stage of applying it to yourself. Yes, do apply it to yourself, but don't stop there. Also apply it to others. Also sell it and get a business going. But give a margin of error to yourself and to your clients where you give them extra help and support, give them one-on-one sessions, even if your program isn't one-on-one based, and give them extra one-on-one sessions if your program is one-on-one based, so that you can test your method and make sure that it's working and fill in the gaps. But you have to have something to work with. You have to have a starting place, a rubric, and you can improve on it, but you're only going to get the chance to do that if you give it a shot. You have to put it out there. You have to try it. And again, there's a little catch-22. If we always work with free clients and trade clients and very, very low price clients, they may not be committed enough or energetically invested enough to get results. And sometimes your program requires is a very deeply transformative program. Look, I've been helping people to grow their business. Sometimes I help people for free, and usually they don't get results because they haven't invested properly. Okay? Investment is required to get results in most cases. Investment is usually required. There's an energetic transference is always required. There has to be a transference of energy, and making a sale is just the most, universally convenient way of doing this. But there's got to be a transference of energy. And if someone doesn't invest, they won't have the emotional capital, the energetic capital to actually get the result that they want, if that makes sense. Okay, so what am I saying? I'm saying that please also move out of this trap of always working with free clients and low price clients and trade clients, because trades could work if the trade is a really good one. I think that it works, but it doesn't always work. And it has to be a very well engineered trade where both sides consider what the other one has is extremely valuable. Then it can work. But even then, it worked for me. I'm not going to go into it. But we have to, I would say, even with trades, get out of that. And because you're trying to test your method and trying to validate some results with people who haven't invested enough to receive results. They haven't invested enough to receive results, and so they won't be able to get results. They won't be able to go from A to B. So you have to find people to invest, and then you'll be surprised at how well they actually do travel from A to B, even just on the power of their own intention and the power of the space that you hold and the power of the fact that they did invest in themselves all together can equal the result, even if your method sucks. Even if your method is way off, the fact that you're holding space, that you both have the intention for them to transform, and they've invested, so there's the energetic currency there for them to actually make that gap, they're going to travel. It's like an electron traveling from one plate to another or something. There has to be a sufficient amount of energy to like take the jump. Okay? These crazy analogies just come out of me. I've never thought of this one before. And even if that's all that happened, they just invest, they want to transform, you hold space for them, the transformation can happen just like that. Even if you talk to them about the weather in Goofy movies and potato chips and the weather in China, like if you talk to them about those things, but the space is being held, they have the intention and they invested, they'll probably actually get results, even if your method isn't good. So here, what I'm saying is create a method, but just don't be afraid to start using it, and don't be afraid to charge for it, because you want to see if it works with paying clients, people who actually put up the energy. Okay, so I know this video is going on a little bit long. I felt that this was an important point, and yeah, my main point there was give a couple extra sessions and always try to get feedback. Like give them a little bit of a margin of error, because it's important that you do validate your method and that you that you get results for your clients, because those results are going to be what you use to get your future clients, basically. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Step one was where are they at in the journey when they start. Step like A. Step two is like where are they going? What's the B? What's the result that they want? Describe it well, put an aura around it. And at some point we can dial in like a specific promise that we can deliver that's very specific, but I think it's more effective even now to just focus on like what is the actual result that they want. Okay, and then C is the method. What's the step-by-step process? Okay, now I said spend some time in this process and test it, create content around it, use it with your clients, refine it over time, blah, blah, blah. You must have faith and conviction in this process. You have to have faith and conviction in this process. The sale revolves around you having faith and conviction in your process. That's where the sale is going to happen. Okay? The sale isn't you selling your program. The sale is you selling your method first. And then once they're convinced about the method, then you can sell your program. Okay, and we need to, I'll get to that later, okay? So enjoy, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.